All right, so part 3 of this erectile I think it's a trilogy at this point. The Erectile Dysfunction Trilogy.
I'd line up to see it.
Yeah. Oh, I've already paid my money. I'm ready. Just take my money for this.
Oh, we're pretty invested in this trilogy right now. So.
Okay, so let's now that we know what ED is, we know what the signs and symptoms are. Let's talk about and how it can really influence, not just your penis, but it influences every other part of
life as a
guy's
whole.
life. Yeah, it just influences your life. So now that we know that, what are some things in the diet and lifestyle kind of non-pharmacological way of handling ED? So we've talked about this before. We're going to say it again. This isn't going to be the last time. And so the continuing theme means that it's pretty important. So physical inactivity, a sedentary lifestyle is kind of detrimental to a man's health, even a woman's health, everybody's health. The body, as we heard from Annette and Nick, the body was made for moving. So get up, get your butt off the couch, and go for a walk.
I know she dropped some great facts on there. She
really
said three 20-minute walks a day.
Yeah.
Yoga, just to get the lymph cleared out. Clear up the blood flow. Yeah.
The walking clears it. Exercise.
This is not power walking. This is just simple. Just walking the dog.
Just moving.
The body was made to move. So that's the gist we're going to get from these interviews.
And And then physical inactivity, huge. Poor diet. So eating a lot of like high fat foods, red meat has kind of been linked to some other issues in men's health, and doesn't mean you got to cut it out of your life, but maybe moderation is always good.
And I'm going to jump on there because what those lead to, it's not that like, oh, we're against that.
No.
Inflammatory. That's the big thing here. If these are pro-inflammatory diets, what you're doing is damaging the blood vessels in the penis and the cardiovascular system as a whole.
Yes.
So the diet and lifestyle that will help reduce that would obviously be anti-inflammatory signs.
Right.
And
Correct.
I know you have more there as to...
you nailed that. You nailed that down. But also smoking and heavy alcohol use. So, we've all heard of the whiskey D that we might get after a night of drinking. But
that one's quick, right to the point, and down the road.
Yeah, that one's right to the point. But continued heavy alcohol use really can influence a man's erection down the road. So those, 3 or 4 points are really important to a guy maintaining a good hard erection.
Yeah. So those are definitely things that can help you prevent ED in terms of lifestyle. But when we get to diet, we mentioned anti-inflammatory diets, and there was a study done on a collection of studies that looked at BPH, ED, and urinary tract symptoms. And if you guys follow our Instagram feed, it's one of the first posts we put out about decaffeinated coffee. Didn't mean to scare anyone with that. What we do here on this channel is going to be different from a lot of other Instagram posts out there, because you may see on an Instagram post, two almonds a day and you won't go bald.
Grab your nuts.
Yeah.
Grab a handful of nuts.
You go to look for these studies, and they're not in these clinically recognized databases, but they are on the first page of Google. Right. So these facts that you may be getting from social media sites are like tabloid information. It's just whatever was out there. So we are looking at statistically and clinically recognized studies, documentation. And so when we look at decaffeinated coffee as an increase in 37% chance of erectile dysfunction, that also takes into consideration smoking and lifestyle behind it, other confounding factors that may play a role. Nevertheless, that was the result. But on the flip side, let's look at some positive things. And we're not saying decaf coffee. That's the nuances with these studies.
Yeah, it's more of like what they use to kind of wash the coffee rather than like the lack of caffeine or anything like that. And that's maybe some chemistry stuff that you guys probably don't care about. Yeah, like
what's taken in, what's putting out to be decaf. Yeah. But we're getting off topic, and that's kind of what we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But for positive impact on ED, again, we're looking at anti-inflammatory. That's your fruits, your vegetables. The Mediterranean diet has shown benefit, but it's also shown detriment. So it's kind of either or, depending on the studies you look at. Guys, these studies are changing all the time, and that's kind of what they do. They're churned out every day, different forms of studies, different levels of data. So you're always going to see different information. But one thing we're seeing constant, fruits and vegetables, anti-inflammatory.
We can't say it
diets.
enough.
We
see it. I mean, we look up a clinically recognized study for diet and lifestyle specifically because we want to be able to say, oh, have a good diet. And you're like, what the hell does that mean, guys? Like, throw that at us. And so we just try to find some valid information for you that can really kind of lock down maybe a couple of foods here and there. I mean, we're not saying you have to be a plant-based lifestyle or vegan, vegetarian, everything's good in moderation.
No, we just mentioned the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah. We're throwing a bunch of different options at you guys, and we just want to see what works. And so with options, with knowledge is power. Yeah. And so that's what we really find the value is just providing knowledge. And it's just this is stuff that we see.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like a cliche saying fruits and vegetables, but fruits and vegetables.
Your mama's been saying that your whole life. It's not even a cliche. You don't have to be a scientist to figure it out.
Some more things we looked into and posted on our social media feeds was more than 2 servings or more than nuts more than 2 times a week. Sorry. Drastically reduced.
You got to have nuts more than 2 times a week.
You got 2 nuts. 2 servings of nuts.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
But that reduced ED to around like 50% in some cases. Vegetables, at least a serving a day. Guys, these are drastic reductions.
Yeah.
Because you may think of them as just your meal for the day, but food can be your medicine. It should be your medicine. Otherwise, what the old saying is, if your food is not your medicine, you'll eat your medicine as food. And we'll get off topic again. That was one of the things that really drove us to do this podcast.
Absolutely.
Because being in the clinic, we would call each other every week to talk about what we saw in clinic, and not in like a way that we bashed it, but it was so concerning that we wanted to do this.
Yeah, there was a lack of health education out there, health literacy, whatever you want to call it, and we took notice in that. This is our niche. This is where we find ourselves fitting in the healthcare community, because Stephen and I we would notice it in lecture. We would notice it in class. We would notice
everywhere.
In lecture, in clinic, we would notice it everywhere. And it's the same things kept popping up. And it's like, well, it's hitting us right in the face.
Listen, I don't want to, shoot ourselves in the foot here by saying stuff we shouldn't be saying about what happens in pharmacy and people's medications. But if you're in a pharmacy, you see the same medications in the same regimen going out in mass production, because these diseases, because what you're going to see is your high blood pressure, your obesity, your diabetes, high cholesterol, all these medications essentially are getting dispensed together.
Every time I've been in a pharmacy, you see it.
You do.
And, we work a few hours a week as part of our, rotations, and it's alarming to see it 2 times a week. You go into a pharmacy and you see the same things getting doled out all the time. And
there was a day where I dispensed 25 medications, 25 for a single pickup. And, I know, I don't want to speak for you, but I know it's where your where your values are at, because we don't want that. I don't want to give people medications when the lifestyle and diet is struggling. So if we can reach one person, if you can reach one loved one to help them get themselves back on track, guys, obesity, diabetes, the profound prevalence that has in every other disease state, when you're talking metabolic syndromes, you're talking cardiac disease, blood pressure, high cholesterol, it's going to be there with all the other ones.
I saw a clip the other day. I don't really watch a lot of TV, but I saw a clip from some talk show the other day, and it was alarming. They turned the whole thing into a joke, and it was like supposed to be funny, but it was like, oh, this American diet here and there. It's like, so how does the food companies of America respond? We're going to wrap your pizza in bacon. And I was just like, well, we can at least share a good laugh about it. There's nothing wrong with that.
I am a huge fan of how the American diet tastes.
Stephen, it is
phenomenal.
It is
phenomenal.
Delicious.
And, that was something I used to do all the time. I guess all of America does. That's something I really enjoyed eating. And I figured, I'm going to the gym. I can eat this. I need to get this meal in because I'm going to the gym. And you realize there's better ways to get food in. So to wrap up, you guys deserve a healthy lifestyle. You do. Whether you have misconceptions or gaps in education about what is good for you and what is bad for you, that's equally important, knowing what is good and what is bad. So we're here to provide that for you. Guys, don't forget the link in the description for the IIEF-5 is going to help you assess your erectile dysfunction, where you're at. Take that to your doctor. Always voice your concerns. They're there to listen, and they want you to talk. I enjoyed having this show here because this is uncomfortable for people to talk about. And we had a great time talking about it. We hope you guys did too. We hope you found value in this video. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter,
at
everywhere.
Men's Health Unscripted. I think Twitter's at unscripted_MH.
It is, but that'll be in the description below too, guys.
We got them all linked up. We'll have the link to Kodawari's website. We're going to have all the links for you guys so that you can get your health on.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a like, thumbs up, comment, agree, disagree. Do you guys like what we're saying? What does Men's Health mean to you? Do you think we're just a couple of idiots up here talking about hard and soft dicks? We could be. You decide. All right. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for checking in.